hard for the people to believe now, because like if a UFO landed and some Edomites walked out, people would be like, oh, that's interesting.
Right.
You know, but when they see Jake coming up and everything, it's going to be like, these people? How?
You're in
They're
trouble.
not going to believe it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, that's just what it is right there. And you know what, too? It just goes to show that the both sides of power that hide of himself, because the Lord knows whom his chosen is. He knows that he's chosen us. But he don't want the world to know that.
Yes.
But the Lord is going to make the world aware of that he's chosen us only. And then it's going to be revealed that we're the sons of God, we're the Israelites, simply put. And the nations are going to marvel greatly, because for so long we've been casted as nothing. We've been considered the unconsiderate.
Yep.
Go on, brother.
Right, reading on, it says, less known in the last 75 years, high-ranking US military and intelligence personnel. Yeah, I've already read that part, so I can move on. Right, it says all of the, yeah, I read that part. Yeah, right, so it says, who studied the UFO connection for more than 30 years. That's a long time, man, if I may just say as well. You're saying that Esau's not going to be able to fight these things because he still doesn't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
He's been studying them for the last 30 years. That's a long time, man.
It's a long time, yeah.
And he still hasn't got a clue how these things move, why they're doing well, he knows why they're doing what they're doing, but he hasn't got any
He hasn't got
answer
nowhere.
for it. Yeah, he's got no answer for it. So reading on, it says, right, so there seems to be a lot of correlation there, says Lou Elizondo, who from 2007 to 2012 served as director of a covert team of UAP researchers operating inside the Department of Defense. The program, called the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, received $22 million of the Pentagon's $600 billion budget in 2012.
And you know what? Another reason as to why they can never ever study the chariots of the Lord is because these chariots are of a different. This is something that Esau fails to realize, I think, is that these chariots are on a higher dimension. So anything that goes on a higher dimension is going to be much, much and greater, powerfully than what's in this dimension. So that's why Esau will never ever come close to actually finding out the info on the chariots, what they're capable of and all of that stuff. Because they're in a higher dimension, simply put.
Yep, and the Most High has put a glass ceiling above Esau's head.
Yeah.
So he can only go so high, but the Most High, man, he's out there.
He's way out there, yeah.
So it says, the New York Times reported, Elizondo now helps to lead the STARS investigation.
Luis Elizondo.
Nuclear adjacent sightings go back decades, says Robert Hastings, a UFO researcher and author of the book.
Like we just read about him.
Okay, UFOs and Nukes, Extraordinary Encounters
Oh yeah,
at Nuclear Weapons Sites. Hastings says he's interviewed more than 160 veterans who have witnessed strange things in the skies around nuclear sites.
Gone. Yep.
You have objects being tracked on radar, performing at speeds that no object on Earth can perform, Hastings says.
Faster than the speed of light.
You have eyewitnesses, military personnel, you have jet pilots. Witnesses to these incidents are often highly trained personnel with top security clearances. In recent years, their reports are being corroborated by sophisticated technology. In late 1948...
Not just sophisticated, highly, ultra sophisticated. Go on, brother.
In late 1948, green fireballs were reported in the skies near atomic laboratories in Los Alamos.
Which I believe this was during the time of World War II, almost at the end of World War II, because I think World War II started in 39, and then it ended in, I believe it was around
44.
It was 44, right?
Yeah, but 48 is when those J people went back to land.
Right, yeah, because it lasted 5 years, innit?
Yeah.
World War II lasted, come. You're going, brother.
So this is the same time when the so-called people went back to
the J's,
the land.
Come.
It says, in late 1948, green fireballs were reported in the skies near atomic laboratories in Los Alamos and Sandia, New Mexico, where the atomic bomb was first developed and tested. A declassified FBI document from the 1950s.
You chimed in on that one.
Yeah, I think it was a bird. A declassified FBI document from the 1950s mentions flying saucers measuring almost 50 feet in diameter near the Los Alamos labs And Knapp has interviewed more than a dozen workers from the Nevada Desert Atomic Test Site, where scores of A-bombs were detonated in the post-World War II years. He says they told him UFO activity was so commonplace there that employees were assigned to monitor
And I
their
believe
activity.
around the 1950s, the early 1950s, I believe it was 1956, man, if I'm correct. It's either 52 or 56. But there was like a band of chariots. I have to go back and read the article again. That came across
White
where
House.
where the White House was.
Yeah,
at.
yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
remember that, yeah.
yeah.
Done.
I think it was. I think I done. Yeah, I watched that, but 47 around 1947,
It was
and
47.
I can't remember the one of the colonel's names. Edomite guy. I remember they came. It came over the White House, and they came out. It showed on the radar, and when they came out, it disappeared off the face of the radar, and they couldn't see it, and it went back in to their base, and it showed up on radio again. They came back out, and it disappeared. They was fucking with them, you know.
And if I may,
Toying
that's
with
around the time when Esau started making all these science fiction movies
Yes.
about aliens and stuff.
Yeah, War of the
Trying to, because people around that time, they saw it and they had no explanation for it.
Yeah.
So Esau, through his media and his witchcraft, tried to put it in the films, as if he could say, "Oh, we can explain this phenomenon, therefore we can control it."
Yeah.
And that's again why Esau put out shows like Star Trek.
Yes.
You know, showing that, oh yeah, we've got our enterprise, we're going into
Yeah,
the stars, we're doing
yeah.
this. That's all Esau's pipe dreams.
Star Wars, Star Trek,
Yeah.
Buck Rogers,
Yeah,
Galactia.
20th century.
I grew up
Yeah.
on all those things, man. It was out of this world phase series. We used to look forward to watching that every week, man. Buck Rogers, yeah.
Yeah, Lost in Space, all them stuff. Right, and it says you have. Oh, no, I've read that
You
part.
see, those are just films, though. But the reality of the matter is they'll never figure them out.
Yeah. So
Forward,
it says in the 1960s and 70s, repeated UFO sightings emerged at Maelstrom Air Force Base in Montana.
Yeah, we just read about that. Con.
Yeah, on the other article, yeah. And it says a storage site for nuclear-tipped intercontinental ballistic missiles,
Yeah,
ICBMs. At one such alleged sighting in 1967, former Air Force Captain Robert Salas says several of those missiles became inoperative at the same time. Base security reported seeing a glowing red
And I
object.
believe around that time, that's when Albert Bivens was on the streets, too.
1967.
Around the late 60s, I would
Rock
say. Yeah.
still on.
So, boy, all the Most High is moving on every angle, man. So it says, in 1967, former Air Force Captain Robert Salas says several of those missiles became inoperative at the same time the base security reported seeing a glowing red object about 30 diameters hovering over the facility. 30 feet in diameter, I should say.
Come.
Slovakia. Salas, who commanded ICBMs as launch officer and later worked in the aerospace industry and at the Federal Aviation Administration, told CNN the missiles began going into what is called a no-go condition or unlaunchable.
Con. So that's, again, they deactivated the missiles. So they couldn't press the buttons to launch the missiles because the buttons was all red. As I saw in the video, you know, they've explained it on what they saw to the best of their ability. All of the buttons were red. In other words, meaning it was deactivated. You couldn't activate it. But that was all done because of the chariots of the Lord. So that, again, that shows you the elements of God, which controls the elements on this earth. Which really, all of this right here is his elements. So if he created it, that meant he has control of it. It's the same thing with this this center down in Atlanta, Georgia, called the Center for Disease Control. So the Center for Disease Control, those people that work in that area, they're able to control diseases. Why? Because they've created these diseases. Diseases can be created, and as well as they can be controlled. So anything that you create, you control it. So of course, the Heavenly Father is going to have the power to control all of the elements here. All right, just by using His angels.
Yep.
So that's all we got to read on that, brother.
Come on.
So we're going to get some more scriptures. And we're not going to be here too long. We're going to just make the point, and we're going to get ready for the camp on the weekend on Saturday. So yeah, Archon, with that, I want you to go and get me the Apocrypha. Actually, no, read Ecclesiastes 1 and 3 again.
Come on.
Yeah, go back to that, and then we're going to jump down and we're going to read Ecclesiasticus 18:3.
All right then. So once again, Ecclesiastes, the 3rd chapter, from the 1st verse.
It's a rock 18:3.
Yeah, right, so it says, to everything there is a season and a time, to every purpose under the heaven.
Gone.
A time to be born and a time to die.
Yeah. So I mean, right now as it stands, we don't really see the Lord making his appearance. We don't see Michael and his archangels and the rest of the angels making their appearance. And you know, as long as I've been in the truth, I've been hoping that the Lord would come back each and every year, you know, as we all did.
Hastening the day.
Exactly. But we've never seen the Lord. But does that necessarily mean that the Lord ain't never coming back? No, it doesn't necessarily mean that. It's just that the Lord has a particular point in time, and we don't know the time. And that's why a lot of men, which leads me to talk about this situation that happened in the year 2000, when you had a lot of men that expected around that time for the Lord to come back, and they just left the truth, and they basically turned their back and went back into the world, and they became whatever they were before they got into the truth, you know. And that's because they expected, as I'm going to say again, they expected the year 2000, the year that was going to be the Lord coming back, but he never came back, you know. So and really, you can't. I mean, at the same time, I'm not going to say you can't blame them. It was really the Spirit, because that's what was being taught by the elder men that taught the apostles. They were all teaching that the Lord is going to come back in the year 2000, and that was going to be the end of Esau. But that wasn't never the case. So what you could do, yeah, read that again. Not actually, don't read that. Get Luke 17:22.
Come.
So a lot of men back then, thousands of them, they were overthrown. They were deceived because they expected the Lord to come back in a setting of time, but they didn't read the scriptures. Had they read the scriptures, they would know and understand that the Lord could have came in any time.
Right, this is
know?
Luke 17:22. And he said unto the disciples, the days will come when ye shall desire to see one of those days of the Son of Man, and ye shall not see
and
it.
the men that continue to teach after the year 2000, those are the disciples coming back. And that would have to be not one of them, but all of the apostles that taught us this truth. That would have to be referring to them, because a lot of men left, went way back into the world again, and never to come back, never to show their face, never again. You know? So a time would come that the Lord will be expected to come in a particular point in time, and the Lord never came. That was already written.
Yeah.
That was a fulfillment of prophecy. And really the Lord did that to get the wicked among us from out of the truth anyway. Because they didn't really believe. They had other agendas. They had other thoughts of what they wanted to accomplish in this life anyway. They weren't really in this truth. So the Lord just made sure that, look, that they get going, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what happened. And that was just a test. That was a major test to see if the men which believed on him would stick around, and they didn't stick around.
Got a quick precept.
And the apostles, they passed the test.
The
You know?
flying colours.
Yeah.
Got a quick precept. Acts 1:6. And when they therefore were come together, they asked of him, saying, Lord, wilt thou at this time restore again the kingdom to
God.
Israel?
Yeah.
And he said unto them, it is not for you to know the times or the seasons which the Father hath put in his own power.
Because they weren't going off with hastening the coming of the day of the Lord. But what it was going off is that they were looking for a time period, a set time and a date of the Lord coming back. That's where they went off. So the Lord was telling them, look, it's none of your business for me to tell you when I'm going to come back. I'll come back when I come back. You know how Jake is like.
Soon come.
Yeah, like I told you, brothers, I was going to get here around 3:30. I came around 5 o'clock. I get here when I get here.
Soon come.
That's an Israelite thing. Yeah. So yeah, there you go, man. So
Take your time, man.
there you go. Yeah. So with that, you go back and read what you had before.
Right, Ecclesiastes 1 again.
No, go back to Acts 1.
Oh, can't. So it says, yeah. I'll let go of it. Yeah, so it says,
I get here when I get here. Go
yeah,
on, brother.
like the Coolio song, I see you when you get here.
Go on.
Yeah, it says, and they said unto him, and he said unto them, Slakia, it is not for you to know the times or the seasons which the Father hath put in his own power,
Go on.
but ye shall receive power after that the Holy Spirit is come upon you, and ye shall be witnesses unto me both in Jerusalem and in all Judea and in Samaria and unto the uttermost parts of the earth.
Exactly. And where in the uttermost parts of the earth now, more in particular the brothers in America, because the uttermost part just simply means the end part of the earth. So they're in the end part of the earth right now. You know, even though you have the disciples in the UK, especially beginning with the top brother Ramah and the brothers on down, and including us as well. You know, we're all disciples. So as it was told that we would be scattered abroad, as what happened back then during the time of the Apostle Paul and Peter and them, hey, we're all over the place now. And I'll even go as far as saying this. You even have our people that are in the land of Israel today, but they may not be preaching. They may not really be doing all that. I don't know if there's a camp out there full of, you know, guys like us on the streets in the land of Israel.
Right.
But the point I'm making is this ministry is going to stir the minds of those that are supposed to get this truth, and they're going to become awakened, and with that being the case, they will be saved. You know? But the disciples are going to be all around the different parts of the earth outside of the land of Israel, because the majority of us are outside of the land of Israel anyway, you know, which was our curse.
Right.
If I may, I have seen videos in the past of so-called Ish people actually saying that, you know, the real Jews are black, that we need to wake up to who we are. So there are people who, I don't know if they're you know, actually teaching on the street, but I've seen videos of men and women making testimonies that we are the people of the Bible. So people are hearing this word. The word has gone to the utmost parts of the earth, and that is another sign that we're at the end, because what did he just say? This word shall, the end shall not come until this word has been preached unto all
the ends of the earth, and then shall the end come.
And we're seeing that now. So what we're seeing is Esau being revealed, more and more chariot sightings, more and more camps springing up all over the place. This is the end, man. It's the end.
And it's just a matter of time when the Lord comes back. I mean, we're in the end, but we don't know exactly what time he's going to come. That's why he also said in Matthew 24, verse 6, if you cannot, give me that, where he said that the end is not by and by. You shall see all of these prophecies, but the end is not by and by. And the reason for that is so that the Lord can originally seal the elect. And then he will fulfill the prophecies and then bring in his son to do A, B, and C. Go on, brother.
This is Matthew 24, verse 6. It says, and ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars, and see that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass.
Right, be not troubled, for all of these things must first come to pass. So we're not troubled at what we see with Russia, the tensions between these other nations. We don't care. Actually, we want it to happen.
That's right.
Because the only way we're going to get to the other side, all of these troubles would have to take place on the earth officially. Going out.
Yep, and it says, and all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences. And we've seen those.
Yeah,
and
we're seeing that. Like, for example, a great famine took place in Venezuela a couple of years back. I think they're probably still going through hard times with that. I'm not really sure, but there were great famines they were suffering from, and there's other countries too, like Ethiopia. They're suffering from a little sort of a famine down there too.
Yeah.
So things are happening. What Yahweh told the disciples, we're seeing it in real time. So this lets us know once again that we're in the end, but we just don't know exactly when the Lord is going to come back. And if you can, brother, it's in that same verse where it says, no man know of the hour of the day when the Son of Man cometh. If you can read that.
Yeah, I'll just find it for you.
So going back to what I was saying, that's why a lot of guys back in the old days, they fell out and left the truth.
Yeah.
Because their hearts were already in the wrong place anyway, and they were expecting the Lord to come back in a set time.
Right.
But the Lord didn't come back.
All right, so this is Matthew 24, verse 36. But of that day and hour knoweth no man.
And you know what, too, brother, I just want to say this, too. Now, you got scoffers and scorners that will say, well, you guys are false prophets because y'all elders taught the 2000 doctrine. Well, that's what everybody was teaching back then. That was the doctrine. That was a part of their doctrine at the time, that the year 2000 would come and the end would come and the Lord would come. So, but does that necessarily mean ultimately that they're false prophets? No. Because then if you know your history of the scriptures, Jonah prophesied the downfall of Nineveh. Now, when after Jonah got done prophesying, well, in the midst of his prophesying, Nineveh was never destroyed, as expected of him. But eventually, Nineveh got totaled. It was done for. It was no more. So the prophecy is still ongoing. The prophecy, the idea of seeing the end of the world, the destruction of America, the coming of the day of the Lord, all of that is still on board in the coming. So it doesn't negate what the men of old have said, beginning with the men that taught our apostles. They would still be correct. Okay, but more in particular, the apostles of the great millstone, because they're still teaching. The elder men that taught them, they're no longer teaching. You know what I'm saying? And hopefully, like the Apostle Hall says, the Lord will have mercy on them eventually. It just remains to be seen.
Oh yeah.
But the point, like I said, I'm going to say it again. That doesn't mean that we're false prophets, because by that same logic, you can say that Jonah was a false prophet. But guess what? What happened is what came to pass of what he said about what was going to happen to Nineveh. So what's going to happen to America? It will be destroyed, and we will be found ultimately right at the very end.
If I may, to be fair,
Going out.
it all fits in with prophecy because before America was to be destroyed, certain things have to happen. We know the mark of the beast, the revelation of who Esau is. Back in the year 2000, Esau hadn't been revealed
On that level.
No, and that's when the internet was just starting to become popular.
Yes.
And people were just starting to get computers with internet connections. So therefore, the word hadn't gone to the ends of the earth at that point.
Exactly.
Which happened when the computers came, which was around 2000. And if you remember, something very significant happened.
Like you had Microsoft 2000 and the likes.
Yes. And something very significant happened around 2000 as well, which was 9/11, 2001.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
When that
after,
happened,
Yeah, I remember.
when that happened, obviously that was major left-hand side witchcraft.
Yeah.
But a lot of people started to wake up and start searching for more truth.
Yes.
After 9/11.
Yep.
So a lot of us younger brothers, we saw these world events, and it brought us into seeking the truth and finding the truth. So it's all prophecy, and the Lord isn't. You can't turn around and say, "Oh, the Most High's a liar because Yahushua didn't come back in 2000." No, that's nonsense, man. If you know the prophecies, you'll understand that certain things have to play out the way they play out.
And like you said, it allowed people to be more interested in finding the truth. And you know what people found out? That incident was an inside job.
Yes.
That's what they found out. 2 years later, I believe around 2003, certain people that had a head on their shoulders, they started to see and find out that it was an inside job. You know?
Then they start looking at America sideways.
Yes.
Whereas before, America was that golden cup. Everybody thought America was like the place to be where you go there and you live the American dream. No, now America's being revealed as the slut.
Yeah.
Slut.
Hey man, I remember coming home from school. I think I was how old was I? I was about probably 9 or 10 around that time, man.
What, 9/11?
Yeah. I remember when I came home from school and I was at the house and I sat down and I saw the news and I saw what happened. And I mean, that ever since that happened, it just changed the world forever. But that's just on a small level. So just imagine when the missiles hit ground zero and destroy America.
Again,
The world is majorly going to change.
That's a good point, because we were talking about paradigm shifts.
Yeah.
9/11 itself was a paradigm shift. A lot of the people in America didn't expect that to go down, but it did.
It went down, yeah.
And they were shook.
Yeah.
So lucky, I remember going to work that day and people at work were like, "It's the end of the world.
Bro.
It's World War III. It's going to be World War III. But I was happy actually, because I knew America was fucking corrupt anyway. And I was happy that it got fucking...
He's such a fucking coward, man. He just...
And after it happened, like, I don't know if you brothers felt it, but it just felt different in the air.
Yeah, there's a spiritual shift.
Yeah.
The demonic energy that came out from after 9/11, I could feel it. I mean, that's when things started to get ramped up even more on the left-hand side, because in the 80s and the 90s, Esau would do wicked shit, but he wouldn't be so out there about it. But it's after 9/11, it's like the season changed. It's like now is the season for Esau to just go all out on his wickedness. So like you something.
All right, if you haven't got a preacher, I've got one. Matthew 25 and 31 says, "When the Son of Man shall come in his glory," camera, what's happening to the camera? Excuse. Yeah, in his glory and all his holy angels with him, then shall he sit upon the throne of his glory. That's what. That's what.
You want to break that down, brother? Move out in the head.
So it's going to be that grand finale when we used to go to the cinema. Before the main movie come on, they show you all the little clips and what's to come about, trailers and little adverts and that, and then it has you in anticipation for the grand movie, and you're getting ready. So and you mentioned about Jake. Jake is about, he doesn't, Jake he's on his own time schedule. So the ultimate Jake, Yehoshai, is on his own time schedule.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's sent by Yahweh. So we just have to wait patiently before that grand finale takes place.
Right.
That grand finale when he comes with his glory and all the holy angels.
Yeah.
So we're waiting in anticipation, man, and he's making us wait because he can do that,
Like if you look at Deontay Wilder, right, the way he comes out of the ring, he comes out of the ring with this unique mask on with diamonds.
Yeah.
So Yahushua, being that he's the ultimate Israelite man, he wants things to be done in a particular way.
Right.
Like for example, you have all of the prophets of the Lord, we're ushering his coming. And then you have the angels. So before he makes his second return, we're going to be ushering it, and then the angels are going to be floating around the place, indicating to us. So it's just all in a special way, in a very unique, special way. The Lord wants to enter this earth.
He comes, and you're gonna be so happy to see him because you waited. He's the grand finale, the King of Kings coming, Lord of Lords. Yeah, he's here.
I don't mean to change the subject, but I'm just thinking there's a character, some guys may know, the Silver Surfer, you probably know. He works as the herald for Galactus, so whenever Galactus is going to destroy a world...
I'm familiar with that too.
Yeah, the Silver Surfer is supposed to go and be the herald to say Galactus is coming. We work as the heralds of Yahushua in the sense that we're saying, yeah, our Lord's coming back and he's going to destroy this place. People are hearing it and they're like, oh yeah, whatever. But soon they're going to realise that the fact that we exist should be putting fear in people. Like they should see us and be like, oh no, what's going to happen next? Because we're prophesying of the destruction.
Well, that goes right into Revelation, the 11th chapter.
Yes.
Where it says that they shall be in great fear because they shall see them standing upon their... Something to that effect.
Let me get it for you.
Yeah, come. Because when the prophets came around, like I always say, when the prophets came around, they brought a message and it wasn't a good message. It was a bad message for the world and the people in it. Jeremiah 28:8, it says that. That says...
the prophets before me of old
prophesy against many kingdoms and prophesy of pestilence.
Has anyone seen Men in Black, Baba Slucker?
No, go on.
Has anyone seen Men in Black? Because there's a little clip. The little clip that I've seen was with Fungus, when before the Men in Black got all their artillery out, all their gadgets out. Fungus in his car flipped over, and he says, "They're coming." Fungus is like an alien-looking thing, but he's got a Jake accent in between Benjamin and Mexican accent. It's all symbolic, Yeah. So he's saying they're coming. He says something is wrong with Men in Black. It's just fucking. It seems like a film that there's a lot of symbolism in there, man. So the point is that you're saying we're the heralds, and there's signs that something big is coming. It's coming. Like Thanos 2 is coming.
Yeah. You were saying.
Go on. Yeah, like I was saying, actually I lost my train of thought actually. Let's read
Look, you called for a revelation and hopefully it'll bring it back.
Yeah.
Revelation 11:11. And after 3 days and a half, 350 years, right? The Spirit of the Most High entered into them, and they stood upon their feet and great fear upon them.
Yeah, great fear fell upon them that saw them, and especially the elite, because the elite, they know very well who we are. And they know what we stand for, but the regular people that we see, they're just in between, man. They're just in between the elite on the left-hand side and as well as the elite on the right-hand side, which we are. So the elite know who we are, because they have our history as well, and they haven't taught these people our history. They haven't showed the people that the so-called Negro, Latino, Native American, Indian, the Bible is their history book, and this is what happened when prophets rose up among them and they told the nations this or that and the third. No, they only know that information. So when they see us, they're very well aware of what's coming next in their world. And they're hoping that they can oversee the prophecies. But that's not going to happen, man. That's not going to happen. You can't oversee the Lord because the Lord created you to do A, B, and C. So how could you oversee him? No, it ain't going to work.
And if I may, that's another reason why a lot of our people are going to be ashamed in that day, because then they're going to realize all we inherited was vanity and lies.
Yep.
They're going to be like, our whole life was just a fucking joke, a waste of time. We were here focusing on like, I want to get a new job, I want to go on this holiday, I want to buy this car, I'm going to get married next June. They're going to realize all that shit was for naught.
Yeah, it's for nothing.
They worried themselves in the way of wickedness.
Mhm. Yeah.
Because let's just say you got all of that stuff. Let's just say you're an Israelite and you work so hard to get all of that. You got your house, you got your wife, you got your children, and you still got a kick-ass job that's paying you kick-ass money, right? But what happens when the world then very well ends? What happens then? Now what? You can't take that stuff with you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this is why we here we're striving for something greater, and what we're striving for, what we're working for, is something that's increasing in value, which this truth is increasing in value, by the way.
Yep. That's
And
right.
with that being the case, what's coming closer is the other world. So we have something to fall back on, really, something that has true substance.
And this carries into the next world, which is why
Yes.
we're going to be rich and why we have great riches at this point in time, because this truth is the one thing that can never be destroyed.
Yeah.
In a sense that all the lies are going to get taken down and put down, but this truth is only going to grow and be more magnified.
Yeah, and that's how this truth is gaining value. Because I'm even go as far as saying this, man. I mean, like, let's just say I came into some money, and I won the lottery, right? And I won 50 million pounds or some shit like that. I'm still gonna be out here doing the work. You know
That's
why I
right.
say that? Because the money that I win, for one, it's not real money, and this world is very temporal.
Yeah.
So why would I lose my mind into this money that I've gotten into, and then therefore withdraw from all of this put together? There's no value in this world. Every single day we're finding out that this world is exactly not what it seems to be. We'll find out that the currency's fake, which we found out that years ago. We're finding out the people that we once looked up to are fake. They're not what they projected, and everything else. So all around we're finding out, as we've already done already, that this world is fake and it's on its way out. So even if you got money, there's no point in investing.
Can't really enjoy it anyway.
There's no point in investing your soul and your money with this place. So even if you got it, it's just best to just continue to teach the truth.
Yep.
Because your money is not going to go into the kingdom. Your money is going to be destroyed right along with this place. If you can, brother, get me Proverbs 11:1, I believe it is. It says something to the effect of, riches will not deliver thee
In the day of wrath.
in the day of wrath, but righteousness will. So your righteousness is what's going to deliver you out of the days of destruction. So you could have all the money up into the heights of heaven. It's not going to save you. And it damn sure ain't going to save the elite from going into slavery. I'll tell you that.
Right. So
Go
this
on,
is
brother.
Proverbs 11 from verse 4. Riches profit not in the day of wrath,
Come on.
but righteousness delivereth from death.
But righteousness delivereth from death. So that's what's going to deliver you as a man that worship Yahweh Bashmi Al-Shai. Once you perform his righteousness, as it is written in the book of Matthew 7, it says, many in that day shall call me Lord, Lord, Yahweh Shai, and they should be rejected. But they that do the will of my heaven will be saved. If you can get me that too.
I'm on it. Matthew chapter 7 and verse 21. Not everyone that saith unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven.
Yeah.
But he that doeth the will of my Father,
But he that doeth the will of my Father,
which is in heaven.
which is in heaven. So that's the kind of righteousness that's going to deliver you from death. Not your fiat fund currency or fake currency that you have in your hand. Like, for example, you got people like Nate that run the Boys in Purple, the IUIC church. You could tell that guy's got money, but if he don't repent, he's going to be destroyed. That wealth ain't gonna cover his ass when those missiles come. His righteousness will, though, if he repents. Only if he repents. And even this other guy too. What's his name, man? The dude that runs ISUBK, General Iguana.
Oh yeah.
I'll call him what he calls himself.